Oh my god, everybody, this is going to be the greatest Hotline League ever. It's Positivity Week here on Hotline League, where we only talk about positive things, and I am so excited to get into all the positive topics because we're just nothing but positive now. And speaking of me, it's my always positive co-host, Mark Zimmerman. How's it going, Mark?
Just feeling great. Unironically feeling great about the LCS. I know you're tongue-in-cheek. My tongue is in the middle of my mouth. I love the LCS right now. It's a great league right now.
Okay.
It's actually good to watch.
Yeah.
Minus Dig vs. Immortals.
I agree. Yes.
Every other game was good.
The CLG games in general, I think, are pretty touch and go. But other than that, no. So, Mark, how you been?
Good. I have a lot of work I was doing on the Blame game today. It's a chunky one about how Core JJ is overrated. Maybe not. We'll see. Verdict's still out.
Did you ignore the Golden Guardians suggestion I gave you?
I thought you cared about viewership, dude.
I do. But I was hoping you could do two topics, and I feel like
I initially pulled two, but then like by the time I was done with timestamps, I had like a page of timestamps. So it's going to be...
They have been getting shorter. So there's a lot of... Did you see the feedback on last week's episode? It was... people
No,
are
I
like,
didn't.
Mark just phoning it in now. These are too short. Okay, anyway. Let's get into
Look at this.
Keeping the positivity going. Dhokla is our first ever guest. Just 24 hours after he was doing his first interview with me ever, we've now also booked him for his first ever appearance on Hotline League. Welcome to the show, Dhokla.
Thank you. Feels amazing to be here. Can't
Yes.
wait to start talking about stuff
Would
in
you
a
say
positive
that?
manner.
Would you say that this is the crowning achievement for you? You made this long journey to be on as a starter in the LCS. Would you say that this was where you were headed the whole time?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is like the pinnacle. So I'm at the top now. It feels, I can see everything from here.
Yeah.
This is the same joke you used for the intro to your interview, dude. About like...
Oh,
this-
you watched
this
it
is-
as well. I figured people would only watch one of these videos, and so I could reuse both of them. I didn't expect... You never watch my content, Mark. I'm shocked.
I figured I'd watch the interview that you just did with the player that's coming on our show. Just to
Yeah,
see
but
what he
that's a
says.
level of proactivity I do not normally expect from you, so I that's why I'm shocked.
I'm insanely well prepared for things.
Okay, fantastic. Well, glad to have you here, Dhokla. What's the vibe on CLG right now? I'm sure it's great, but like, are people ecstatic? Or are you guys like, oh my god, like the organization is pushing it a lot as like, we won, we're first place, ha ha ha. But I don't know if you guys are like feeling the same vibes.
I mean, we're definitely happy that we're first, but for me, it's like, it's just regular season for now. So obviously can't get like too excited winning just regular season games. I think just stay focused and get better over time for playoffs.
Yeah, it's good to.
So it's a much more measured response than the interviews on the LCS, which I appreciate. The showmanship when you're on the LCS, you're like, yeah, we're fucking going to Worlds. These other idiots suck. And then here you're like, no, it's just regular season.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun to get hyped for sure, especially in the moment. I think, I heard CLG chants in the crowd, and I don't think anyone's heard that before, so it's like that got me pretty excited.
Not since 2015
Long time ago,
Madison
yeah.
Square Garden or something like that. Yeah, it's been a long time since the CLG chant has been uttered. And you were getting that from a crowd that was just about 5 people too, so it's pretty impressive that all 5 of them rallied around this.
Yeah, they were really loud.
How many people were actually there? It was like 30, 40, 50?
I think, I don't know, probably like 100. If I had to
100?
like quick count.
I
There was
think
like there was like 8 to like 10, maybe like 12 rows like kind of filled. Like the outsides were like not filled, but like the middle part of it looked filled.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't take the best look of all time. But
When Dhokla walks out of that stage, he locks eyes and counts every single person in the audience to make sure that he knows that they're there.
And he'll
to watch
personally
him.
go up and shake your hand after the game and do an autograph and photo. Dhokla will never let a fan go.
Captain Flyers in the chat, very excited to be here for the positivity train. Good to see you, Captain Flyers. Okay. There was something I was going to ask Dhokla, and now it has slipped my mind. So I'll use this as a moment to shout out Grubhub and Alienware at the start of the show. We'll talk more about them as we get into the outbreaks. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Okay, I want to reveal to you, Mark, and everybody else who's watching, this was how I did the interview with Dhokla, and I was like, in my mind, I'm like, I should get him on Hotline League because they're winning. Dokla's really well spoken. This is fantastic. And then I was like, do you want to come on Hotline League? And in real time, he spent at least 10 minutes standing in front of me going, And he was like, Dad, dude, sometimes those takes, like, they're just so brain dead. They're so bad. Like, so listen, if you are a caller calling in, do not call in and piss off Dhokla. And I was like, but you could call in, Dhokla. I was like, Dhokla, if you're there and they call in, then you could argue with him. He's like, that's just not what I'm about, man. And then the thing that happened was he realized there's no champions queue this night. And so he's like, okay, there's no champs queue. I've got nothing else to do. So that's how he ended up coming on Hotline League. So thank God champs queue being down.
I will also say I respect Dhokla that you can at least give a good reason why you don't want to come on the show, which indicates you watch it, where some people are just like, I'd rather just watch a Marvel movie or something for the 2 hours that they're on this show.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, some of the takes are just really bad, but we'll see how it goes, right?
What are your least favorite takes? They'll try and avoid them because some people like when people call in and they say something ridiculous, they can dunk on them, or some people, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like a pet peeve of mine is like when people talk about infrastructure within an org, like these buzzwords are just used like that have a very generic meaning. Like you don't even know what's going on behind the scenes. Like, yeah, this team's laying out the infrastructure or something like that. It's like you don't even know what's going on. And you're just saying these stuff. It's just really really annoying. Yeah.
Well, whenever I see 10 coaches get tagged
like that,
on Twitter, then I know they've got good infrastructure. We've got 10 positional coaches. These retired pro players are going to be this player's positional coach. Okay, so while Mark is looking for takes, there are a couple of... So obviously we'll have some stuff about CLG. If you want to come in, you want to talk about CLG, you want to ask Dhokla if this is finally happening, you can do that. And questions about Dhokla, etc. Love to hear people's thoughts on the league right now. Obviously, there were some really interesting games that went on. Mark, you were talking about... Why don't you talk a little bit about why you're so excited about the LCS right now?
Okay. I'm not going to be able to pull takes while I do this.
That's fine.
I have a little brain that can't handle this. I actually think the LCS is sick right now. I know there's a lot of negativity, and there's things that are fair to criticize or point out about viewership or local attendance or whatever. But I think in terms of like actual watching of the LCS, it's kind of fuego. Every team is pretty, like Dignitas Immortals. I already said, like, fair enough. It's a little hard. Like I can't sell you that. But every other team, why are you?
That's a good take. That's a good take.
I have to be a little honest here, but like I think CLG is legitimately awesome to watch. They're doing cool things in the draft. I feel like FlyQuest is doing cool things in the draft. Even though like TSM and Golden Guardians are like really hot and cold, and so you just like don't know what you're going to get right now and if they're going to win or not. C9 is trying to figure stuff out. Like they're clearly not at their peak, so you're going to get to like watch this cool rise of this team as they start figuring their shit out. Team Liquid, EG are like 1-2 in the league for the most part, like in people's minds, and so like people almost beating them, like FlyQuest almost beating TL, CLG actually beating EG is like huge. I felt like 4 of the 5 games yesterday I actually enjoyed watching, and there was like not just like, oh, it's a clown fiesta I'm enjoying watching, but like I actually had things I wanted to talk about and stuff like that. And I feel like a lot of the players are just doing cool stuff. I think the like actual LCS content's better. I don't know. I think it's just like a good thing to watch now.
Yeah. I agree with a lot of that. It's been fun to see the players creating a lot more social content on their own. I don't know if that's their teams that are pushing them, but like Inspired is doing like funny, goofy interviews.
Oh yeah,
Spica doing the like, what are you listening to? What are you listening to? Or whatever tweet video. That was amazing. I really do respect and enjoy a lot of the stuff that we're seeing there, and I agree also with it. I think so. I guess there's a couple things to dive into before we start taking calls. One of which is this Elementz drama that I'm going to have to get caught up on.
Oh yeah.
By Mark, I guess, and then. One of the things that really... Okay, so I'll just provide the context. So I was at the LCS yesterday, as I often am, and I used to go out and shoot interviews outside, and it was quite fun because there'd be just a mass of people in the background, and I think it would set like a cool environment of like You get to see fans in the background. Sometimes pro players are walking by, etc. Now, like, you go out into the parking lot and there's just nobody out there. And part of the reason is because there used to be like fan meet stuff out there, and that's just not a thing with COVID. So I totally get it. But also when you go in and sit in the audience, like the audience is, I think, about a third full. Like I'm a little surprised. Like I sat in the audience for some time during the second game yesterday, and it felt fairly empty, like very empty. And I'm a little surprised because there's been a couple of people that have pushed back against that, but I don't know where they're seeing that. I think that arena can fit something like 300 people or something, and I feel like it had about 100. What's up, Mark?
I can tell you why I think some people are probably pushing back, and it's because I have heard that the actual sales of tickets are good.
Azale tweeted that at me too, and I'm very like I don't think that any like I'm not like Azale's just fucking lying or something like that, but like it's weird for me to hear that because I do not see that reflected in person at all.
Well, so because, and this is going to launch a larger topic probably, but it's not every day. So I don't think like Saturdays, I think 3 of the 5 days of LCS so far, like technically sold out. Whether or not everyone shows up is a different question. And then the other big thing is how long they stay there for.
Right.
I think that a lot of people right now don't care about some teams. And so if you're going to go, you're going to show up for the 2 hours that you want to watch.
I left before Dig Immortals yesterday. I do not blame anyone else who left before Dig Immortals
yesterday. Even in general, if you're a Team Liquid fan, you probably go for Team Liquid. Maybe you stay for like the EG game or a CLG game or like whatever your second team is. But you often don't stay for the whole day right now.
Yeah.
Or
well, that's why I was there during TL FlyQuest, or I sat in the audience for TL FlyQuest, and I just don't have the perception that it was very full between that and the next match was Cloud9 100 Thieves, and I feel like that would be most likely the matches that people are going to hang out at, or at the very least, like the Cloud9 100 Thieves one should be fairly full because maybe people that are coming for EG, CLG, like afterwards, like they go, I don't know, whatever.
Well, so the thing is that's the Sunday as well, because like I said, it was 3 of the 5 days. So gotcha, the Sunday games are not selling out, from my understanding. But the Saturday and the Friday, Saturday from the week before, I think were both technically sold out.
Sure.
So
I mean,
I'm not saying like the people are there or they're not there. It's not like I can lie to you, but like I can just say like if it's being sold out in some situations but not feeling full, the question is then why?
Yes. So anyway, back to the sort of mini story. I made this tweet about where I was like, oh yeah, it's sad that there's not as many people, and that like really took off. I don't know. I still don't really know why. It got like 2,500 likes and over 200 replies and a bunch of people chiming in. At the same time, the woman who helps me with the Hotline League stuff, and some people have seen her like comments with like timestamps and stuff like that. Jordan, she missed her flight from VidCon, ended up going to LCS, or she was going to go to whatever. She went to LCS. It was her first time ever after watching LCS since basically it started, and she was very excited at the start of the day. She's like, I can't believe I'm going for the first time. This is going to be such a surreal experience. Oh my god. And at the end of the day, she's a very like polite person, but we were getting dinner afterwards, and I was like, so I could tell like she did not seem as enthused. I was like, did you have a good time? And she's like, it was all right. And then like as I pry in a little bit more, she starts to be like, yeah, it was kind of not great. And so she's like, maybe I should write something up about it, like a blog or whatever, because I just have a lot of thoughts. And I was like, oh yeah, if you put it on Twitter, I'll retweet it. And so she did that, and then I retweeted that. That's taken off a ton, and now there's a bunch of. What I have really appreciated about this conversation is, and I know Mark was memeing me about the negativity stuff or whatever, and I admit we have been like very negative lately on the show.
Well, don't throw me under the bus with you, dude. Captain Negative Pants here, just radiating it like a fucking nuclear warhead.
Mark, all the calls you took last week were negative.
I was positive about them. Pete, you tried to argue that CLG is not worth being excited about, and I was like, you're crazy.
Yeah, well,
this is my attempt to get them to forget all the players that I put them 10th in the power
okay? the odd Mr. Dhokla here has defied the odds. The betting market would not have had CLG winning against EG. Anyway, we'll talk more about that in a second. But there's just been a lot of positive stuff that has come in on on this thread, like constructive, positive stuff, right? Like I love seeing Andrew White, who previously did TSM Legends, now he's at 100 Thieves, talking about the in-arena audio and like how much he's seen it change since 2017. And other, like, there was a discussion around like, okay, if there's not fan meets, like I proposed the idea of like, if you can't do fan meet, like why don't you have like a pro player like hang out on stage in between the games and conduct like a Q&A with the audience or something, so there's a reason for the audience to like enjoy sticking around. They get a unique or novel experience that you can't get like staying at home. So like I like the conversation a lot right now, because I know there's some people that are going to come in and be like, yeah, Travis is just so negative, but I feel like a lot of the conversation on Twitter was pretty positive around how to like, you see a lot of people banding together to be like, oh yeah, this is an issue. I think the final thing I will say is like here, and this is a little bit more on the negative side of this, there was a time where like everyone who worked on the LCS product was at the LCS at least once a weekend. And so the entire front half of the studio had a ton of rioters and different people and all that stuff. Nowadays, it is basically all contract employees. And the production folks and the broadcast folks that are working there every weekend, I don't want to besmirch the fact that they're there, but you know, they're in the back, they're not seeing a lot of the stuff. Mark, every now and then I see Mark, he makes this one little dash from one door next to the concession stand to another door by the concession stand, and I see him for a second, and then he's out of there. So I just feel like there's not very many people that are experiencing the front side of it and know what the experience is like and all that stuff. Sometimes Mark's up in the caster booth. He's lording himself up over the top of all the fans that are there. You know, they give him a separate special balcony where he's away from everybody.
There's a lot to say about this, but I honestly don't give a fuck because we have Dhokla here, and I don't want to keep just having him.
I mean,
sit in
that is
little...
a topic. That is a topic I am interested in.
Okay, because to be fair, some pros, and I don't blame them for this, are like, I just want to play the game or talk about the game or like meme and stuff, and they don't care as much about the infrastructure buzzword. And so I wasn't sure if you were the type to be like, get me out of here, or if you actually want to have be a part of a conversation.
That's I do care about that, but I don't know what the solution or generally like how to fix this is, because I feel like a lot of the personality was on the players, and now it's like trying to be shifted onto like the teams because the players are not really as active. So I guess that's like one thing, but I think players in general need to be more like have more showmanship, I guess, like because it is an entertainment like platform business, whatever you want to call it. So I mean, that's part of your job as well. So I think players do need to like realize that a bit and put some effort in on like having a good time and making people interested to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've done a good job in your short stint so far, like 2 weeks of getting people hyped with the interviews and stuff, as well as just like the games themselves. Like it's hard to generate hype if you're not also winning. So I think like you guys having a good start while also everyone on your team seeming to be like having a good time whenever there's a microphone in front of them is a big part of it.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't know, is it Dhokla? Are you the reason why all these people are turning out in the chat right now? We got Captain Flowers, Ovally, Tactical says true. CLG is the #1 team in the Entertainment League. Agreed. I saw Raz is always here, even though
I think I'll just take all the credit for everyone. So
getting timed out, but it's cool to see everybody here in the Twitch chat. No, okay. Well, here, let me ask you, Dhokla. What do you think? Is it fun right now to be at the LCS on stage? Do you feel like the crowd is like excited for you to be there? Have you had any cool fan experiences? Like, what is it like from the player perspective?
Well, I do still enjoy being there, but I will say it's not as like hype as it once was. Like back when I was playing on Optic, it's like I remember we beat TSM in like just some regular season game, and it was insanely loud. Like we were the underdogs coming into that game, so then when we beat them, it was like really exciting. And I kind of got a glimpse of that feeling when we beat EG yesterday. Like it was pretty loud. So like it can still be there, but definitely it's like you just look at the audience and then it's not that many people, especially for like lower like less popular teams. For sure, it's only like, you know, just not that many people. So yeah, I'm not sure what the fix is, but I think it needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
I think some of the things from that thread that are definitely worth talking about. So like one, I do actually go out almost every day to look at things by necessity. Where we get our food, I won't speak to like where catering is at exactly.
He's not
but
trying
let's
to
say
dox the caterers.
I'm not trying to dox where we get our food, but like it's kind of impossible to not see what it looks like outside. And I often like you've seen me creep from the meeting room that we're in before, right, Travis?
Yeah, well, that's what I thought. I think when I already see you, Dash, and Jet, and people like that. You guys you already show up near like the food stand. I don't know where you guys are going and why you're going.
No, that's
from
not what
where
I
to
mean.
where.
That's not what I mean. You've definitely, or some people have seen me. There's a meeting room inside that has windows that looks outside, and I will like peek my head up over the window. And if anyone is gonna go to the LCS, you might see my head looking at like what it looks like outside.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Where we do the interviews and
yeah.
like that green glass. Yeah.
I've definitely put my face on it and blown my like lips out, on the glass. Yeah. I was gonna say the COVID situation is kind of fucked. I think one of the reasons that people used to enjoy the LCS a lot was that one, other personalities would go there, like influencers and stuff. Two, the players would always be available after the games. You would go outside, there would be a fan meet and greet where you could get your picture taken, players would sign stuff, you could probably talk to them. Like you said, you'd be out there, Travis, doing interviews. Talent would be like more willing to go out during the tailgates and stuff.
Yeah.
And now, like, if I get COVID, I don't work for 2 weeks. It's like kind of fucked. And it's a big risk. And like I took pictures with some fans after one of the days, and I've said, I don't know if I should say this, but like internally I've been like, listen, I don't know exactly what COVID protocols are, but like if it's gonna make tailgates more hype, I'm down to go out there and do some shit. I know Dash has done some stuff. You could play Dash in a one-on-one. Like I think people are aware that there's just like not much for a fan to do beyond like sit in the crowd and eat a donger dog and like throw
They're
a
not
thunder
called
stick at
donger dogs
Dhokla.
anymore.
What are they called?
They're just hot dogs. I went over to the
that-
food stand and like it's funny because when you buy a ticket, it's like try a donger dog, and at some point in time they just changed the name of them from donger dogs to just regular hot dogs, and like nobody knows that this has happened because they still advertise it that like everyone still talks about them being donger dogs, and no one has actually gone over and looked at the food stand. They're not called them anymore.
That's messed up.
Well, that's where the attendance went.
Yeah. See, but this is the type of stuff I talk about because like I don't like I made that tweet and now everybody's like, "Whoa, this is a thing," and I'm like, nobody knows because nobody like I know you might be blowing.
Well, you
on the
also
glass,
get some
Mark,
stuff
but
wrong about like, oh, well, they don't have a hype man anymore. But I'm pretty sure that Daniel still goes out there between every single game. Maybe it's not as hype because there's not as many people there.
They throw stuff into the audience, but they don't like CB. Do you remember CB?
Yeah.
CB used to do like games with the audience and like trivia and all this types of stuff, and like that has definitely not a thing anymore.
Yeah, it's definitely more interactive for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was more interactive before, but like the whole like you point in the crowd, like, are you gonna get it? And you get them all hyped, and you run to the other side, and you're like, are you gonna get it? It's like what you see at every sporting event. It's like a spiral where if there's like 12 people there, it's like.
So Flower says in chat, Daniel hasn't gone out the past 2 weeks. We haven't had anyone working crowd in summer so far. So who's getting stuff wrong, Mark?
Captain Flowers and you.
There is someone throwing stuff, but
yeah. I mean, no offense, Captain Flowers, but you're wrong. I've seen him out there multiple times doing it. I feel like, yeah.
He says there's throwing stuff, but that's it. And yeah, that's what I saw whenever I was there yesterday. There's no like games or anything to like hype up the audience and stuff. Ollie says Mark is wrong. It's basically everyone seems to agree that Mark is wrong.
Well, he just said Daniel hasn't gone out the past 2 weeks when I literally saw Daniel out there yesterday. I'm pretty sure. So that's why I'm saying he was wrong. Now, whether or not he's just throwing shit or doing like the full hype man, yeah, we can debate how effective that is. But I mean, they are sending someone out, whether or not they're doing a great job. Sure, we can debate that.
I'm not trying to throw Daniel under the bus here, Mark. Okay.
I'm not throwing Daniel under the bus. I'm defending Daniel's honor.
Yeah.
But I think the things that made it fun in the past, I thought Andrew's point on the Twitter thread was really good about the audio just not blowing you away. I remember feeling like you were getting kicked in the chest in a team fight, and it's just not like that anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
And that's something where I'm like, I'm not an audio designer. I don't even have the first point of feedback other than like, yeah, that doesn't feel as good. And like the light show thing that Jordan, that's her name, right, was talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, that sounded weird. I don't know
So
what that's about.
supposedly the theory is that that's what they do before match of the week, and it's like a very exciting. They're like they make the lights all do something interesting, but they don't.
I just didn't know that was classified as a light show. You know,
I know.
like...
I don't know either. You should have to ask Daniel. I assume he was the one that communicated this if he was out there. I joked whenever I was talking to her about and some other folks about how like maybe they were saying that because they're like, okay, this is if you've smuggled drugs into the arena, this is when you take the drugs because the lights are gonna go crazy in a second. You're not gonna want to miss it.
That was Captain Flowers talking to the crowd before the light thing.
I was the unknown caster talking to the crowd before the light thing. What did he say?
First of all, Jordan doesn't know who Captain Flowers' voice apparently.
I don't know. That's how disconnected the casters are from the audience. Everybody is they're just a voice and nobody knows who they're. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to go too far on this, but I think one of the things I wish was that as these like a couple different things here. Rioters always used to go. You could meet a lot of rioters. They were around. They were experiencing the stuff. They replaced the merch store with a like PC bong a while ago, and I think that the merch store was a lot cooler because you could buy like jerseys and stuff. It was a cool way to do fan engagement. The tailgate stuff was much more better communicated. It seems like people are not really showing up to the tailgate right now. I've not gone to the tailgate, admittedly, but from the folks that do go, they
man
tell me
on the ground, Travis hasn't gone to the tailgates. Tells Mark Z, man who has gone out to the tailgates, what's going on at the tailgates.
Do you think that the tailgates are as packed as they used to be, Mark?
No, not at all. The tailgates were super dead. Yeah. That was a week one thing where immediately, because Portillo tweeted that one out, that like, and that's why I think Dash was doing tailgate-esque things already this weekend. So like these problems definitely exist, and I think there's a lot of people who are trying to troubleshoot as quickly as they can.
Yeah. I do think, by the way, that there are... So all I was going to say on the last part is, I know you can't do a lot of these things that you normally can do. No one has seemingly thought, how do we continue to like make sure that this is a cool experience? And I think the Q&A stuff for it could be kind of cool. There's like definitely ways that you could safely like engage with an individual without being in close physical proximity with them. But we should move on because I don't want to...
The final thing I'll say, too, is that we've only had a crowd back for 2 weeks. There was playoffs last split, but obviously you didn't have to do as much to try and think about how you're going to engage fans. And there's probably a muscle that hasn't been flexed by a lot of people. And there's been a lot of turnover behind the scenes, too, of just like new people coming in. So that's not an excuse for not having a good in-person experience for people who already paid $20 last weekend or whatever. But I do think it's something that will get better because it probably just wasn't thought of enough.
Yeah. Okay, Dhokla, we apologize for that, but I'm glad
I apologize that my host picked such a fucking boring topic to start 40 minutes of a talk show about.
It's not been 40 minutes.
No, not technically, but... So instead we're going to talk about Double and Elements.
Yeah, let's talk about Elements. Drama from 2012.
No, we can skip it. Does anyone care? Does anyone?
No.
Great.
I'm going to get the first caller so we can actually do what the point of this show is.
Okay. Great. Okay, we're getting a call in. Some shout outs to the audience or the folks that have subbed. Thank you to Ari Waddle, Hobnobbin, Robert Bruce, Pocket, Gophers, BWG Testament, Pepper PhD, Rovis 195, Akaran Liberated, Arsh G13, Gangariffith. Okay, Beefgasm on Twitter is here. Beefgasm, where are you calling from?
From Seattle. What's up, man?
Seattle. Okay, what do you want to talk about on the show?
So my take is that my boy Dhokla, he's always been insane since 2019, but the top lane pool was hella stacked. Like, so he couldn't shut it off, but now it's weaker. Now my boy's in. So.
Dhokla, do you know this caller? Have you paid him?
He has been tweeting at me from time to time, but I will say I think back on 2019, like I was really bad. Like looking at it now, and I think I definitely leveled up a lot. this past year. So I think the top lane was probably even weaker in 2019 than what it is to now. So I think I've just gotten a lot better.
I was gonna say it's almost like a backhanded compliment to be like, you were always good, but you just couldn't show it because you weren't good enough, and now all your competition left.
That is true. Like, I had it in me. It's just I had to dig it out of there.
So to be honest, this take was only to get me on the show. But I mean, you played like super scared, like in 2019. Like you were always felt like you were trying to go even. Like you were barely trading. Like you're just trying to go even and just trying to.
Well, he's facing such good competition. That's all he could do.
Yeah,
he's just
true.
I mean, I just didn't know what I was doing at the time, so I would say I was more ignorant of what I should be doing than knowing what I know now.
Well, let's broaden this out a little bit. And go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I actually, as meme as this topic was, I think it's cool because I can't think of another player, maybe this is just me being stupid, who had like their short stint, fell off, went back into a challenger and academy, and then like came back, and not just like came back into the scene, but like took what was a 9th place team or 8th place team last split and is now tied for first. Like, who knows exactly where the season's going to go from here, but there's been players who came back and they did all right. I think Contractz is another guy who like went down and came back up, but then he like came onto an EG team that was already kind of middle of the pack where, and I'm not saying CLG's turnaround is completely due to you, but like this is maybe one of the most successful re-entries into the LCS that we've seen.
Yeah. I guess I don't know. I think an issue for that, I think, was like just coaching. It's like, if I were to coach a player right now, I think I could make him like insane, like because I just know what to like look out for, just for top lane, like a positional coach. But at the time, I feel like I didn't really have guidance in that way of like just laning in general. Like there's just so much that I just learned like passively throughout the years of just watching videos instead of just being like directly taught to me. So yeah, I think coaching can improve a lot in NA.
Ooh, that's a topic and a half right there.
What do you think it was that like helped you? Like, was there a single coach, or was it just the grinder? Like, what got you to be the top laner you are now?
I don't know. Like, no one really teaches you like lane mechanics, really. Most of it's like wave manipulation, really. But no, that's not like a topic that's like heavily discussed and like taught every day. So
was it the infrastructure?
Yeah, the infrastructure was really lacking, I would say. Just laning in general, I think that's like the most important aspect of the game for sure, because that's we can control like 100% of the time. Like your first like 5 minutes, absolutely, it's in your control. And outside of that, maybe you can get like unlucky here and there, but not sure what the question was. Yeah,
I was just asking, what was it that got you to be better?
I guess over time, I just just soaked in more information, and then just clicked with me, I guess. This off season, like I don't know how else to describe it, and it just made sense, like of what I should be doing.
There was a lot of.
I think that's.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
I was gonna say that's a really fascinating part of like competition to me is like the clicking that like it happens not just even in competition, even just like I remember when I was programming, I thought I was a fucking moron because I was like failing my assignments and I just didn't get it. And then like nothing explicitly changed, but suddenly I understood how to be a good programmer, or like at least a decent one. And like that clicking is really cool. I also think Contractz on the desk. I think he was talking about you being one of the grind lords on the team, right? He said like you guys were like pushing each other and staying late.
Yeah, well, I was mainly pushing him, but yeah.
You're mostly dragging his corpse like, get back here, you're not going home yet.
Yeah.
I mean, like those things are very interesting to me because like having someone else there in the office when you're like trying to go hard and like not just the pushing each other, but like the camaraderie that can come from that and like actually making you guys better teammates and stuff. Like I think those things are so, it's like you can't force it because otherwise you guys will just hate each other. But like when it happens, it's so powerful for like making you and your team better.
Yeah, that's definitely something I've done like throughout my whole career, I guess. Like if you ask like any of my like former teammates, I guess, I would hope that they would speak highly of me in that regard. But yeah, I mean, it's just like, this is just what pro players are supposed to do. Just put time in and compete. Yeah.
Yeah, that is what pro players are supposed to do.
Supposed to.
There's I think you're the first person, and I guess I should have asked you this in the interview yesterday, but I'm happy we can talk about it on the show now. I've talked to a lot of people who are kind of like up near the top or were already in LCS about Champions Queue, but you're somebody who had the chance to experience it, and now you're in the LCS, and so I'm curious, did you feel like it made a meaningful difference for you in terms of practice last split? Like, where is your take on it as a player who went from kind of being on the development side over?
We do have a Proving Ground-esque topic that maybe we can.
Is it Proving Grounds or is it Champions Queue?
It's like development, I guess. It was about Proving Ground in the academy system with amateur. But if you want to just do the Proving Ground answer here, we can do that. But I just wanted to flag that we have a question.
No, we can wait for the caller. Maybe you can pull that next. But Beefgasm, thank you so much for the call. I'm glad that you're here to support your boy. Is there anything you want to shout out before we say goodbye and take a quick break?
Yeah, shout out to Spica for boosting my friend Physics in Valorant. That was really good. Got him to diamonds, so.
Very good.
What can Spica do?
Shout out.
That's what I'm saying. That's what he was doing all off season, just playing Valorant. So.
Well, that sounds great for our hopes. Anyway, catch you later.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Mark is off to get the next caller, but we're going to take a quick break while he's doing that to talk about Alienware. I know, I'm throwing Mark off right now. He's so confused. I normally have two signs, and I've used both of them. Alienware is fantastic. They make great products. We have a new thing that we're doing, a new system with them. I mentioned this last week on the show, but if you are thinking about purchasing an Alienware product, please, it is now more important than ever for you to use my link, alienware.com/Travis. Some people have been saying that AdBlock has been blocking that, so if that does happen, please maybe tweet at me and give me like a screenshot or scenario, because we've been trying to sort of figure that out. But we're trying to do a more direct thing. Alienware is trying to help us out a little bit more by giving us more direct credit for the purchases that occur. And I can actually put that link in the chat too. So if you are thinking about purchasing a computer, we often have a code that works. It works on all other products. It doesn't work on all of them because sometimes they're running special deals or it's a newer product or something. Use the code, but if you can, please use the link as well. Well, alienware.com/Travis. Doing so we're on the path to doing something kind of cool in terms of our relationship, evolving it to that point in time. So I kind of need your help as we run this test of folks going to alienware.com/Travis and then checking out the Alienware stuff. So thank you so much to Alienware for supporting the show. Thank you all of you who purchased their products and let us know that you've done that and all that stuff. But please use the link because it's super helpful while we work through this. Anyway, I think we're ready for the next caller. Mark, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Looks like Basil is here. Basil, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Atascadero, California.
You've been on the show before, right?
Yes, I have. I've been the CLG hype guy.
Wait, were you the one last week that called in and I was kind of not hype while you were hype?
No, I was not.
Okay, well, whatever. Anyway, what's your take?
My take is that Proving Grounds has proven to be very successful for helping up-and-coming NA talent, where you have guys like Dhokla, Danny, and JoJo who were performing in it last year who are all now top 5 in their role in LCS. And I think that down the road it will prove to be even more beneficial and we'll get a lot more talent coming out of that pipeline.
Awesome. So for you, whenever you have this faith, it's really just born out of Dhokla, JoJo, and Danny so far, yeah?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. Dhokla.
I mean, that's not bad for a year. 3 months?
Yeah.
Depending on how much you want to give to
No, I'm
Champions
not
Queue.
saying it's only 3. I'm just curious. So,
Yeah.
Dhokla, you were in this development. You were in the different versions of development stuff. You were in amateur at one point in time, academy, all this stuff. What have you thought of the changes that have been made recently, and do you think that they are responsible for your re-emergence into the LCS?
For me personally, no, I don't think they're responsible for any anything for related to my success. I think, well, for me the biggest change was mentality. I think I've always had mechanics and stuff like that. It's just how would you do dumb shit all the time, looking at it now, right? So mainly it's just mentality because the competition is not as good in Proving Grounds. I guess for me personally, for what I can speak on, it's the biggest change for me was just mentality. It wasn't really playing in proving grounds or like having these tournaments to compete in.
Is there something about, so with the changes that occurred last year, do you think that it was better than before? Do you think that they, even if these things are not the things that for you specifically feel like they're pushing you, what do you think of the changes that have occurred over time?
I do think it's better because just more competition in general. Like even if it's not like the best talent, right? It's just like you don't want to lose to like an amateur team, right? So like if you're an academy team, especially, like that's just embarrassing, right? It's yeah. So I mean, it definitely pushes you to like just not have that as like people view you as it, and it looks really bad if you do lose. So I guess that's one in regard, and then it's just the same as like a regular like academy playoffs, I think, because once the amateur teams are like filtered out, it's just like the rest is like just like basic academy playoffs that it was in the past. So nothing more than that, the way I see it.
Yeah.
Would you say then that, I mean, it doesn't sound like any of the systems helped you in particular. Does that speak more to the systems not being good? Or do you think it's like this was just what your journey was going to be on, no matter if you were like in fucking Korean grind, like their challenge, like LDL, didn't matter because it was like a mental thing that you just had to like
I think
unlock.
it's mainly, yeah, for me, I think it was mainly like just a mental aspect of it. I think if I had like a experienced coach or just like someone who's been through what I was like going through before and was able to like guide me in a way of like, this is like, you know, I've been through this, is what you should be thinking about doing and stuff like that. I think it would have been much more helpful than rather just like, all right, well, here's next season, you know, let's talk about rotations or some bullshit like that. It's like, that's not really going to save you from like what your problems are. And I think a lot of coaches like fail to address that, like what's actually like holding this player back. And then they'll just talk about like, just talking about some really off-topic stuff that doesn't really impact what's like the core issue of the team.
Well, in your experience, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go, Mark. You were the former coach. Ask him.
Well, because I think a lot of people, and I've all been victims of this as well, is like you want to diagnose why you like lost the game, but sometimes that doesn't fucking matter compared to like what should this player learn from this game. And so like, oh yeah, we lost the game because you went for a flash engage and you fucked it up, and like if we just did this instead, we could have won. But like, you know, like, do you feel like that's something that you see too much in academy, where there's like a tunnel vision from coaching staffs on winning in academy or like in amateur or in these systems, or do you think it's just like they don't actually even have the tool set to give you the good feedback that you want?
I think the way they like come to the solution is just maybe I think it's flawed. I think like there is a right answer of like what you should be doing, right? But I think it's the process of getting to that solution, because every player like looks at the game differently. Like so you just have to view it from their perspective of what they're thinking in the moment, how their decisions led to them making that decision, and then just address it from there. Like, you know, you should be thinking about this more when it comes to your decision making or whatever. And I think that just gives a better foundation of making better choices throughout the game, instead of just like hindsighting it, like you know, just why didn't you flash here or something like that, like stuff like that.
I think we were going to talk also about Champions Queue a little bit. How much did Champions Queue help you as a player trying to get back into the LCS?
I think it helped me a lot because it gave me like exposure, I guess, mainly than competition. Because I did feel like I was playing well. It's just that I guess I would need to convince people of like I'm good. You know, it's not just like I'm spamming games or something. Like I had a pretty high win rate in Champs Queue when I was rank 1 that split, and then yeah, so I think it exposed a lot of like what I was able to do. So
it's like a marketing effort.
Yeah, yeah, kind of.
Rather than development, you're just like, by the way, guys, I care, I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, it is. You kind of do have to sell yourself to like get your name out there, I guess, somewhat like that.
Do you think that's good or bad? Because like Mia, for example, as the story's been told to me, and I don't know if Tactical's still here, but like the story that I've heard is like Tactical played with him in Champions Queue or noticed him in Champions Queue or something and kind of scouted him through there. It's kind of networking in a sense, which I know doesn't always feel good, but like, do you think that's better than, like, is it a better version of that than solo queue at least?
Yeah, I do think so because you're interacting with them like on comm, so you get an idea of what their personality would be like if you were to play on a team with them, right? So I think that's extremely important as well. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's just exposure plus obviously you're gonna have to play well if you're like then people will start like noticing you. So I do like it for sure. Like 9 ping. Queue times are like relatively. Sometimes they're long, sometimes they're not. But I do think it's a lot better than solo queue.
What back to Basil's take, which is like, proving grounds is helping to get these players into the league and is developing good players. I know you kind of looked at that as, hey, you know, for you it was more of a change of mentality and like making these, you know, kind of having these realizations on your own. Do you think there's any truth to that more broadly? Like, do you think that these things will help develop the league more, or do you think, like, you've kind of hit at the idea that maybe the coaching is not stellar in a lot of these situations?
Yeah,
Do you think it's like coaches sucking is still going to be the thing that's going to hold us back, or, you know?
I think to get to like at least LCS level, I think mainly it's just a product of like individual play for the most part. Because playing the game from ahead is not hard, right? So like, 'cause you have all the options of decision that you want to make if you're like just winning lane, right? So playing the game from ahead is not hard, but playing from behind is also like that's like you have to be more creative doing that. But just getting yourself to the point where you can like naturally just win the matchups that you're supposed to win, I think is like that's the difficult part that people need to learn to get to LCS. Just I'm gonna be losing this matchup because that's just how the matchup plays out instead of just like, and then I'm gonna be winning this matchup regardless of who the player is because that's just how the matchup goes, right? I think once you get to that point, then like strategy can come into play.
Yeah.
Personally, that's just the way I see it.
Yeah. Well, Basil, it sounds like Dhokla completely disagrees with your take. Just completely shut you down. How painful is this for you in this moment?
Can't lie, I had to have myself muted. I was crying a little bit. It was really just messed up, but I'll live.
Okay, fantastic. Anything you want to shout out?
If you have a Twitch Prime to give it to Travis Gafford.
Thank you.
Join the Travis Gafford Discord if you haven't. You can catch Mark Z saying you'd win more Super Bowls if kids just kiss their fathers on the lips more. You'll have order from Grubhub. I've been ordering it like 3 times a week now. I'm kind of addicted and it's fantastic. And shout out to CLG. I hope you guys make top 3 and get into Worlds this year.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We will catch you next time. Thanks for calling in. All right.
There's some context there that I swear.
Mark, I think we're ready for the next caller if you want to go grab them.
Okay.
Okay, where are we? Giga Riffith, Ricky Tiki Talk. Thank you for the subs. Ellipson, Sakowitz. Let's see, where are we? There was a bunch more people up here. Crayon.
Once Mark comes back, I do want to get like both of your guys' takes on like the last question because I think I have a unique view on it. I don't know if everyone else agrees, so I would like to see what everyone else thinks as well.
I'm down. Mark's the better person to talk about it than I am because I feel more guilty of doing the kind of like, infrastructure thing that you mentioned because it's harder for me to have insight behind the scenes. Caller, we're going to put you on pause really quickly because Dhokla wanted to get some takes on this. Mark, Dhokla was curious what our takes were on the last caller.
About the academy system?
Yeah, and the proving grounds and all that.
How it helps talent improve, or
I'll be honest, I'm not the best one to answer this question because
that's exactly what I said while you were gone.
We're both such chicken shits. I mean, like, I feel like back when I was coaching and closer to coaching, Challenger and all those things was basically like you're just trying to win. And I think the idea behind Academy was a good idea about like, it'll be more developmental and players can get swapped up and it'll help teams and all this stuff. And then it felt like for a long period of time, it became just like a wasteland of like a couple people getting contract jailed into like buyouts and like being this weird farm system and the other teams just not even giving a shit, but needing to be like contractually required to field players. And so this version, and I could be wrong, feels better where there's probably some teams that don't help their academy teams enough still. But at least I mean, you were just on CLG Academy, so you can't really flame them if they sucked. But
I
like,
can blame them. Like,
Oh,
they were dog shit.
oh yeah, your former coaches here
No,
in a room down the hall.
No, well, the whole org got fired, so no one else is remaining. So yeah.
Oh shit! You mean since last year?
Yeah, last year.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
I mean, that was just pure embarrassing. Like, it was. I'm pretty sure there was a laughing stock of like everyone. By the way, like, they lost. They didn't even make proving grounds where, like, it was just like top 16 makes proving grounds, and they didn't even make that. Like, it was just so sad.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm sure there's still some academy teams that are that situation again. Maybe they will at least make top 16, but like.
Oh, if you're an academy, I think they changed the rule. Like, if you're an academy, you're instantly in proving grounds. There's no more shame anymore.
That way, you guys can't get shamed out of your jobs or something.
Yeah.
I mean, either way, I think there's probably still some teams that don't like give the resources that they should to actually developing players. But I mean, I think it's better than it was like right when franchising hit. I remember having a conversation with the GM who was like, "I fucking hate that we're forced to have academy teams," and I was like, "That's not good."
ThinkCard in the chat says our team is literally 5 players from academy, by the way, which is I think
that is true. That is true, actually.
Contractz is there's an asterisk there.
I mean, he was technically from academy, so this is all factual statements.
You count him because he had to earn it after Golden Guardians. He went through the grinder to get back into EG.
But he was playing. Yeah, he was playing on. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway,
and then
he had to come up through the system.
Yeah,
I'd agree.
Yeah, the system.
Infrastructure and system. All we're talking about with you, your favorite topics, buddy.
I mean, to answer the question, from my limited perspective, and so I always try to be honest about what I know and don't know here. But the things that I do like about it is, one, that feels like there's more of a space for somebody who wants to try to go pro. Like, it felt like before there was like academy, and if you weren't on one of these 10 teams, there's just a giant drop off. And now that they've integrated the systems in more, if you are somebody who's in North America and wants to, like, I frequently think about with the import stuff and with all this stuff, if you are a player in North America, do you really think there's a chance for you to try, like, to be able to make it into the LCS? Like, I want somebody to have the idea that, like, if this is a dream of theirs, they can do it. And I think having more teams of varying types that are getting attention and, like, participating in this stuff and playing against each other, I think that is an overall good thing, and I like that. I do worry a little bit about LCS team commitment to some of these academy teams, because I think you see really varying levels of investment from different teams, and I worry also about the coaching side. The more and more I've heard about it, the coaching side stuff is big. For a while, to reference what Mark was saying earlier, there's kind of the contract jail, buyout jail type thing going on. And I think one thing that's really helped is that, and we haven't really talked about it too much, but the buyout market basically like crashed during this off season. And so I think you had a lot of teams that previously were like, haha, I'll hold on to this player because we'll get $1 million from them like in 6 months. Like whenever Jensen and folks were just hanging out without any buyers, it actually, I think, did a decent job to thaw out some of that stuff. So that's kind of where I'm at. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, Dhokla, or anything that you want to inform Mark and I to help our ignorant opinions on the system.
No, that's good enough.
Okay, glad. Good enough is what we're looking for here on Hotline League.
Second one of the night. We're getting through it.
Medraut
on C's. We haven't failed yet.
Medraut is here. Medraut, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas. Love Austin. What do you want to talk about on the show?
Well, to go away from the systems talk, my hot take is that after only 2 days of games, Zven already looks like the best support in the league.
That is an interesting take. Okay, what has given you that opinion?
So a lot of people with Zven coming into the league expected him to basically, because he was going from 80 carry to support, focus entirely on lane. But especially in the 100 Thieves games, he was not only just fine in lane, but he was out roaming Huhi, a legendary laning support. And the other thing is that, quite frankly, the support role in LCS looks honestly abysmal. Like the when Core JJ looks like an average laner and average support in the league, I have to question if there's something wrong with the support role endemic to the LCS. So as a result,
Wait,
Zven
if he was
looks
looking
better by
average, wouldn't
comparison.
that mean that there's a lot of competition in the support role?
No, I think this year might be in contention for Core JJ's worst in his career.
Okay, sorry. Continue your thought.
I think, sorry to flame Poom, but I think
What
Poom looks pretty rough. Biofrost looks significantly worse than last split. Huhi is looking way worse than last year. Vulcan's looking pretty good, so I think there's a solid argument for him to be in contention. Aframu is looking okay. Ole is looking pretty decent to okay. Ignar, Immortals is a
Do
whole
you just tier
shit
list
show.
out every support in the LCS into okay, good, or all right? It sounds like you don't think who else. It sounds like Vulcan. Is there anybody else that you think is up there with Zven in your mind?
In my mind, Vulcan and maybe Aframu, but
Okay.
that is strictly because he is just held back by Jones.
Okay.
So just to say, the topic in the chat that I pulled was Sven in his first weekend as a support already looks like the best support in the league. And I'm like, okay, interesting topic. I don't know he's going to come out there and flame your teammates, all right? Like, this is not a conspiracy. I swear to God.
I mean, I just think it's like, I don't know what the metric you're basing it off of, that like they're not as good or something. Like, I just don't know like how you're judging it at all. So, you know, I'm just not gonna agree with that opinion.
How does this
so you
rank
don't
on
agree
caller
that
takes,
this...
Dokla? Is this one of the takes that would make you not want to appear on the show in the future?
I mean, I don't want to go like, I don't want to say some out of pocket shit, but yeah.
Our fans are tough. They can take it.
I don't know what the rating is on this show.
we don't normally rate the callers.
We're E for everyone.
Yeah,
Everyone can
everyone?
get roasted.
Okay.
Yeah. That's.
I mean,
In Doku's defense,
what's your metric that you're judging these supports off of? I just need to know.
Sure. So
Just the eye test or what? Like,
frankly, eye test. And the part of the reason why I don't rate Poom as highly is because I think that Contractz and Luger have been single-handedly, just running that team, and so I haven't seen enough from Poom for me to really believe that he is at the same caliber as a lot of the other players on your team.
Okay, but how do you know that we're running the team? Like,
from the eye test, it certainly seems like that Contractz and Palafox basically run the mid game and early game. Luger has been a shining star in CLG in the entire year, and you are head and shoulders better than Jenkins was last split.
yeah, but I mean, you're coming to these conclusions, but like, I don't know how you're getting there is like my issue, because I mean, you can just assume a lot of these things for a lot of these teams, and it's just not true. But I mean,
Okay, Mark.
You do have an opinion, but I just don't agree with that.
Mark, what do you think? How crazy is all of this? Let's get back to the core of it, which is the LCS support pool weak this split, and if so, are Zven and Vulcan, maybe Aframu, hanging out at the top?
Well, so is the support pool weak this split? That was something that Dhokla disagreed with. I think it's better this split. So I think I disagree as well. It's only been 5 games, so it's like a little hard to say exactly like. I mean, people are very down on Core JJ after this weekend, but I'm like, do people just not remember like the double Bard stunts, the double Nami bubbles, like all this insane shit he was doing, like literally just last
I think
weekend?
It was our hotline lead caller last week that said that Core JJ is overrated. It changed the entire discussion.
Dude, I feel like I accidentally like just unleashed this Pandora's box of people saying Core JJ is overrated because I broached the idea that like Vulcan's won more titles. Vulcan was on, and then Vulcan's like, people blow Core JJ a little too much on the broadcast, basically, and then it's like now that's all like every Reddit thread is like Core JJ's overrated, and it's like I didn't mean to start this. I think he's actually still really good. I think Nia's better than Shenyi. I think there's another change I'm forgetting that happened
in the support pool.
Yeah, someone else changed.
Well, you said is Zven better than?
Oh yeah, Winsome. Winsome was no offense, but he was pretty terrible. I think, or at least like
Ignar as well.
You want to talk about people getting carried by their team a little bit there. Yeah, Ignar over Destiny, I would say should be an upgrade, though that team's on fire. But to Dokla's point, like you don't know sometimes who's carrying a team. You also don't know who's sometimes like what's the cause for a team being terrible. I don't think it's Ignar. So like I think the support pool actually got a lot better this split. I think Biofrost is playing a little bit worse, but or like there's individual players here maybe playing a little bit worse, but I think it's like again maybe small sample size. And we'll see over the course of the split. I also don't agree that Sven's the best support in the league, though. I did actually really like his TK game a lot.
Dokla, did you have a chance to see much of Sven's?
Well, honestly, I don't even watch I don't watch the games because I just watch like the games like after like I'll just scout the team that we're playing the next week and then I'll watch those games. But like I'll just get brain damage sometimes if I just watch the game, so I just try to avoid it. And it's like, all right, no slander on my boy Core JJ, okay? He's fucking good. That's it. Just no one slander him.
Okay, that was. I thought you were about to go into another thing.
There was a big butt coming there. No slander, but that guy gets way too much hype.
Yeah. No, it is very funny, Mark, because we had that call last week. I know you might have looked at the comments, but like a lot of the comments on Hotline League last week were a lot of rage about anybody suggesting Core JJ is overrated, and then now it's starting to pop up. You said your blame game is about it, right?
Yeah, because it was in a lot of the post game threads, and like TL didn't have a good week, so it's like it's almost just like the perfect time of like people starting to have this conversation. TL almost goes 0-2, So
okay, well let me stick this to Mark then. We'll make things uncomfortable for him. Mark, about a year and a half ago, 18 months ago, you famously uttered the phrase "poo gang" on broadcast, earning you the ire of Papa Smithy and many others as one of the most toxic.
Yasuo found that very offensive to his sensibilities. As we all know, Yasuo, beacon of justice, was very offended at that.
Yes, and and now he is on this team. What do you think?
I think he's good. I think they have, in some instances, taken the backseat for more topside centric game plans for
they're
CLG
letting the other
far.
three run the team is I think what you're suggesting. Right
now. Basically they, especially week one. After week one, I was looking at gold percent stats. I don't think we ended up using them, but in spring, Luger was like top 3, top 4. He's like 24% gold percent for 80 carries, and then through the first 3 games, he was down at like 20%. It was last place basically. So not like those are indicative of how he's playing, but just showed how the team's priorities shifted. And I think that they've died sometimes in lanes. There's been some oopsies by Luger, like I don't think they're playing perfectly, but I think that they were the bright spot for the team this split, and they're like Contractz has been a lot more consistent. Like there's been other things that have stepped up. The Poo Gang thing on that topic, I messaged Poom when lock-in was happening and I was doing some casting, and I was like, I think I had one of their games on my calendar, and I was like, if you guys 2v2 kill a bot lane, can I say you welcomed them to the Poo Gang because you shit all over them? And he was like, I don't really give a shit anymore, man. So I think he's like whatever about it, but I have like, it just hasn't happened. I haven't had many CLG games, so I'm still looking for the opportunity to work that call into one of the broadcasts.
Great. Love it. Medraut, thank you for the call. Anything you want to shout out before we go on to the next caller?
Thank you for having me on, Travis. I'm sorry that every support in the league, especially Poom, caught strays on that one. And I would like to shout out I Will Dominate, whose tweet I basically stole for this call. Yeah, and that's about it.
This is another one of those Trojan horses where we have to fight other esports personalities in the space via their proxies, as they call it to the show. Which
Their
is a frequent-
plants.
It's a hotline league thing that happens a lot.
And that was a hot take, I will say.
Thank you, Medraut, for the call. We'll catch you next
Ooh,
time.
true. I Will Dominate has content sponsored by Cloud9. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Conspiracy
Anyway,
theory.
Mark, you want to go grab the next caller instead of whatever's in your lap? Okay. Sethy Poo, thank you for the Prime. Smoke Dog, The High Ground, Wild LOL, Hung Step Bro, Razor 6, Ventus Official, Lightsaber.
What was that
Ventus at
name?
50 months. Awesome. Congratulations. Thank you.
What was that name?
Ventus? Oh, he's a mod that's been around for a long time.
No.
I'm not gonna Razor
say it again,
6?
but there's
Are you
another
talking about
name.
mine? Another great play. Okay, in the chat we have 5 dead white guys. Where are you calling from?
I'm also calling from Seattle, just like the other CLG fan. Home of evil geniuses, eat shit, and really hot right now, so my AC is kind of blasting. I had to turn it off because I didn't want it to be super loud.
What do you want to talk about on the show?
Yeah, so my take is that Palafox and Contractz are a top 3 mid-jungle duo in the LCS. They are sort of the engine that drives the team. And because of them, and also the rest of the players who are all really good, CLG has a really strong chance of being top 4 going into playoffs, and will likely be one of NA's 3 representatives for Worlds.
One of NA's 3 representatives at Worlds. Where do you think they'll come in?
I think I would say second or third. But if I had to put money down on which team I think is going to make it the furthest, I would bet on CLG.
Okay. Round 2 of the CLG Copium train on Hotline League. Last week, folks said this. I was like, I don't really care about CLG and whatever.
Travis, how about you answer this first then?
Okay, here's what I'll say.
Where's your read on CLG? Because last week someone called in and you're like, CLG is a fraud. Who cares about their storylines? Because they're just going to drop back down like the rock that they are to the bottom of the standings.
Wow. I
You
didn't
said all
say
that.
but I did say something close to it. I'll agree with that. Okay. Where did I say that they were going to be at the bottom, or did I say like they just weren't going to make Worlds?
You just said that like they were going to drop out of like serious contention, like back to
Yes.
the bottom half of the league.
So I still think that as of right now, as Dokla's literally
Flexing on you.
lifting weights,
All
it's
right.
very dangerous. I would say as of right now, I continue to think that CLG in the next 2 weeks will not be a top 3 team. I think that they're going to drop down to middle of the pack. I think that EG and TL are better than them. And I think that either 100 Thieves, TSM, or Cloud9 are also better than them. Probably Cloud9. And so they'll be out of top 3 contention.
Would you say 100 Thieves, Cloud9 was the third one?
Maybe TSM.
Yeah.
Do you think TSM's bad, Dhokla?
I mean, I think they're bad, yeah.
Okay. good. Okay.
I mean-
Well, I'm leading more heavily on the Cloud9 stuff.
Okay.
I will say after this weekend, I have more faith that CLG can squeeze into the 3rd slot.
Mhm.
But like, I want to point out with Dhokla on the show, unfortunately, that like everyone was on the CLG hype train, and they went 1-1 this weekend. And while their game against EG was sick, they lost to FlyQuest.
I know.
Wait, FlyQuest?
Dude, it's so disgusting, but it is what it is, man. It's regular season. That's why I don't want to get too overhyped by beating EG, even though like that's supposed to be enemy's best team, right? So I mean, realistically, they shouldn't even struggle beating us, right? If we're a bottom place team, but I mean, they didn't beat us, but the game was a bit shaky. But also, like, we lost to FlyQuest. Like, how did that happen? You know, it's like, I mean, I know how it happened because I was there, but like, how did that happen? Like, you know.
So, I mean, to defend you guys a little bit, maybe this is just me coping that FlyQuest isn't that bad, but like, they almost beat Team Liquid too. They almost 2-0'd this weekend. You almost 2-0'd this weekend. EG almost 2-0'd this weekend. I think it's just like teams are a little bit closer than we were giving credit for. I think.
I mean, if that's the case, then that makes it even more likely that CLG will end up in the middle of the pack, right? Because like if all these teams have pretty decent parity, I feel like that's a bigger threat for them than like if they can rise up to the top.
At least they started 4-1 compared to like the 2 and 3 teams that we're saying they're close to.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I
Plus,
think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
CLG has one of the top 3 mid jungle duos in the LCS, and so I feel like that kind of pushes them over the top.
we'll return to that in a second, but I just want to finish on the CLG hype train bit. I think I'm pretty big believer in them. After it was one of those things where like when you make a prediction in the preseason, I saw Palafox say 10th place, by the way, when you guys were in like the mic check beating someone.
Yeah.
Was there anyone in particular that was about?
No one in particular, no one in mind. I don't think so.
Okay, great. I almost brought it up with contracts on the desk, but I didn't want to derail the conversation. But yeah, it was funny. But there's times where like you make a prediction, you watch like 2 games, you're like, oh, I'm just fucking wrong. Like that was one of the ones where I was like, yep, I'm an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's like a bad ranking. Like looking at it like without just looking outwards in of like where you should place us, because we only made 1 change in the off season, and is that really going to propel someone like astronomically up the standings? Like, so I don't think it's like a bad take at the time, but
honestly, I feel like it's less about the 1 change and more about the many years of CLG.
Well, and I saw the potential in the lineup last split, and I put you guys 6, I think, and then I just kind of got burned, and I was like, fuck, I guess it's not going to happen. So I lost faith to the CLG point. But to bring this full circle, the 5 dead white guys, I think the Contractz point is as much as I love the change for Dhokla in the top lane, I think Contractz has been way better. Started last split, he was like chain feeding in a lot of like the early games.
It was really disgusting of how bad he was playing. Like some of the decisions he was making is like, it was just really horrendous. But I think he's playing like so well right now. Like he's very aware of like his situations in every skirmish. I think that's like really insane. Of like that's like the hallmark of a good jungler. I think is just you're very aware of what's going on in like other people's lanes and when you can and when you can't. Like obviously he's gonna mess up like sometimes, but for the most part he's very good at like making good decisions in like skirmishes. So
Do you think shoving him when he's in a skirmish helps him play better?
Yeah, it gets some adversity, you know, like he has to power through the adversity, so I think it builds character for him.
It's like the blocking pads in like football practice, you gotta run through them.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I shoved him, like, from my side of the story, like, the game was absolutely over after he killed Gragas. I mean, the game was already over, but it's like, I was just hyped, like, let's go, we just beat EG, you know, like, everyone's predicting them to win, and I was just really hyped in the moment, and just want to add some hype to Contractz as well, so just give him a little shove, and I think he blew out of proportion. Like, yo, my mouse just went like across the stage or something. Like, I don't think I pushed him that hard, but yeah, definitely, it was hype. Yeah.
Dokes doesn't know how strong he is. He's pumping iron while scrimming and shit, and then he's pushing his teammates, and they're not used to it.
Yeah. The secret lab chair just spids out across the stage.
Okay. Also, yeah, I think Palafox is also very Christian. I think he's also very good. I think.
Do you think he got a lot better? Do you think it was just disgusting at the beginning of last split for him?
I'm not sure. Maybe he can tell me himself, but I think they are just playing better. I don't know if that's just like reflecting on what happened in the last split, but I think Christian was always good. Like he's always like willing to go for risks that Christian, yeah. He's just willing to go for risks that like. Like Jojupian light, except like he just do like really outlandish shit. So maybe just like Jojupian, not even light, because like some of the shit he goes for, and then he tries to cope, saying like, "Oh my god, but if I hit this and dodge this, like I would have lived." Like he finds a way to cope like the craziest scenarios. But I do like that mindset because it's pretty funny just to hear his thought process. But it also like adds a layer of just craziness, I think. And X factor that people have in like making plays.
Yeah. Palafox says, "I know it's cope. It's okay." How
close were you to the main roster in spring? Were you guys like just mostly isolated, or were you like seeing the problems that they were having?
No, I mean they kept me locked in a cage in the academy room. Like I couldn't even get out. So
just throw bird feed in there.
Yeah, I mean. I didn't interact with them like too much. Like we would see them in the office, like we all eat at the same table and stuff. But it's like, I mean, I wasn't like in their internal problems and stuff like that. Yeah, like we have assigned seating,
Oh,
like
I got you,
just
okay.
like stuff like that.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, I mean, like I didn't really have like a inside view of like what's going on within the team. Like sometimes like Juan would come into our room and just talk about it a bit, like oh yeah, scrims aren't going bad or like aren't going too great and stuff like that. And then our academy season was going really good, so it's like we were just vibing, having a great time. I was like commander of the vibes in there, so we were having a really good time. And then they were just trying to suck our vibes, like bring some good vibes back into their room, but it just wasn't working.
That's great. All right. Anyway, thank you so much to 5Dead for the call. Anything you want to shout out before we take a quick break?
I got to give my top 3.
Oh.
I think it's actually really fucked because a lot of the teams have really good mid jungles right now. I think Spica, Maple has looked pretty good. I think I know people think Bjerg and Santorin suck after this weekend or something, but I still think they're good. JoJo and Danny's obviously insane. I think
Danny?
they're. What? I said JoJo and Danny?
Yeah,
What the fuck? They're just
Great
one
NA
human
talent.
to me now.
Such
JoJo
great
and
NA
Danny
talent,
are just
you know?
fused together. Yeah, JoJo and Inspired, excuse me. I think they're probably the best in the league. And then it's a toss-up between, I think, the 3 I just listed. I don't think I'm missing any. I wouldn't put
Contractz,
Closer Number
Palafox.
in. Yeah, Contractz, Palafox, Speaker Maple, Bjerg. Blabber and Jensen's a weird one. They're really hot and cold right now. I think they'll obviously do a lot better.
Well, there we go. All right. 5Dead, any shout outs?
Shout out myself. Haters said I'd never make it on Hotline League, but they were fucking wrong. Shout out all the boys on CLG for kind of smurfing this weekend and also last weekend. And Kevy for popping off an academy when he comes and starts later this week. And then also all the people marching for like reproductive rights and women's health this weekend because the Jackson v. Women's Health ruling was kind of bullshit. Free Palestine. And BDS is the best team in the LEC, and it's just because of their name.
Have a
Nice.
good one. Thanks so much for the call.
Not loaded
Yeah.
at all.
I think his shout outs were longer than his take, but I appreciate it. Okay. Anyway, we're going to take a quick break to talk about Grubhub. Love Grubhub. Going to actually order some, I think, after the show because I haven't had dinner yet. But tomorrow, I will tease this. I don't know when it's going to come out. But Travis Gafford Industries, for the first time since 2019, is spinning up a bigger production shoot. I don't want to say huge, in the grand scheme of things, but for us, pretty big. Pulling out all the gear that I bought back in 2019 and 2018 to do something really cool, which is going to be all made possible by Grubhub. So I'm very excited about that. You will see some familiar faces in it over the course of that series. So stay tuned for that. That's just a little fun tease for you guys. Also, make sure that you are, if you haven't used Grubhub yet, that you're signing up using the link that's in the description. That is actually very helpful. And you can use code NEWTRAVIS, NEWTRAVIS, to save on your first order with Grubhub. And make sure you check out the Grubhub Guarantee, which is a fantastic way to make sure that you get your food on time or they will make it right. So thank you so much to Grubhub for sponsoring the show. Looking forward to showing you guys what we're working on. But thank you to Grubhub again for being a wonderful sponsor. All right, Mark is off to grab the next caller. And some shout-outs to some subs. Thank you to Lightsaber, Jammin' TST, Medraut, McBeefing, Clock Cruncher for the 10 gifted subs, as well as their own sub. Bioflash, Big Angry Hobo for 4 years. Darking, Sherman, and Pena. Thank you everybody who subbed. It's very nice. Very nice to see it. Also, I guess League is getting more spicy because we've got more people than we've had in a while watching the show tonight, which is pretty fantastic. I wonder why that is.
I don't know.
It could be any number of different reasons.
Could be me. Never know.
Could be. What is it like, Dhokla? Is it a pretty huge jarring difference for you switching between Academy and into the LCS? Because I feel like you're now in the studio, you're doing all this content. What's the experience been like?
I don't think it's too crazy. But at the same time, I'm very centered guy. I don't really think about stuff like that in that way, where it's like, I'm just not a good person to ask like stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's just a normal day, I guess, kind of. Yeah.
Normal day. LazerFruit, where are you calling from?
I am calling from Ontario, Canada.
Ontario, Canada. Welcome to the show. What do you want to talk about on the show?
My take is that CLG will finish the season above both TSM and 100 Thieves.
Okay, well, we had the last person who said they were making it to Worlds, so now we're actively lowering expectations. Where do you think
This-
100 Thieves... Go ahead. What, Mark?
I was saying, this was my bad for forgetting what topics I pulled and like stepping on each other's toes a little bit too much.
Yeah.
Because the previous caller was just supposed to be the mid jungle thing, and then I derailed it into the what's Travis thing. So I kind of ruined this guy's topic, but I think there's an angle we can find here.
No, it's good. So, okay, TSM 100 Thieves, right? Where do you think that they're going? Where do you think those two teams will place?
I think they'll play 6th and 5th, putting CLG at 4th.
Okay.
Who's
So you
third?
think 100
C9, you
Thieves
think?
is going to be... Do you think 100 Thieves is 5th or 6th?
I think 100 Thieves is 5th.
Okay. Well, at least we're there. You realize they were finalists in spring.
Yes.
What do you think has... Why do you think things have changed so much for them? Because they haven't made like roster changes, so why would you lose so much faith as to put them all the way down at 5th place?
So the first reason is Abadagi is playing like absolute dog shit right now. He has not looked good at all, and I think even most of the last split he was really bad as well. He stepped it up for playoffs, but like for 90% of the season, he has not looked great. And also on JLXP, Jet was talking about like the way 100 Thieves likes to play the game has been nerfed like multiple times recently. I don't remember what the first change was, but with the like the durability update and the tower change, last year when they won LCS, they really loved like early bot dives and setting up their bot lane, and that's a lot harder to do now. And they don't really seem to like know what to do as a team anymore.
Is this are you a JLXP proxy caller? Do we have our second proxy caller? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so and then I don't need like a huge TSM take, but I guess you're just not impressed by their roster changes.
I just think Huni and Tactical are just too inconsistent as carries.
Okay, Mark, you look like you're ready to go. What
Oh,
do you think?
I wanted to ask Dhokla because we've asked a lot about CLG and stuff. What are the teams that you think? All right, CLG's for sure top 3, but
Yeah,
like
in my
who
head.
else? Yeah, but like who else do you have in there with you? And then like who's in the top 5? Like is it because that's a big debate right now.
I
Who's
think
gonna
it's
be top 5?
EG, TL, us top 3, and then I actively don't care like who's below me because it just doesn't matter to me. It's just
All right.
wasting my brain. Like it's just
That's-
taking up space in my brain that I don't need.
That's what this show is about, though, is wasting your brain. You
I
have
see.
to. There's a gun to your head, and you're
Gun to
not
my
going to
head.
have a brain anymore if you don't answer. Who is
I say
4 or 5?
4 or 5. Let's see. I think Harness Thieves spent a lot of money on their roster, so I'll just put them 4th, and then TSM I'll put them 5th.
Okay, great. So you don't believe in FlyQuest. Don't believe in Golden Guardians. Don't believe in
Dig or Immortals?
Dig or Immortals.
Who are you forgetting?
That's it, I think.
Okay.
Maybe we forgot someone.
D9.
C9?
Well,
Oh,
you-
C9.
Maybe they're
Don't-
5th. Maybe they're 5th.
See, this is why we have to ask Dhokla, because he's like, I don't watch the games of these teams until I have to play them. They're shitters, not wasting my brain space on this. Got to grind solo queue, lift weights.
Yeah.
Who's finishing around me doesn't matter. They're below me. Don't recognize them.
Yeah.
What do you think about FlyQuest? Like, have you guys scrimmed them at all? What's your read on them? Because you did drop to them, and you're flaming yourself for dropping. Is it like,
Yeah.
is this like tongue in cheek for the camera, or are you actually
No,
embarrassed?
I'm
to have
actually
lost them?
I'm actually mad that we lost them because, I mean, I just think I'm significantly better than Philip. So I think I was doing well in my lane. I think the main issue in that game was like or Balling was trolling. Our Udyr cleared very slow that game, and I wasn't able to help my team out with the lead I had. So, mistake for me, and I died, getting caught. And then I was dead. I should have called that. We can't actually end. So, a couple of takes for me from that game of what I can improve on for sure. But yeah, I mean, I just think that we should be better than FlyQuest at least. Like, yeah.
To get it back to kind of 100T and TSM, I want to save 100T for the end because I have a couple things there. But okay, we've now seen TSM for a couple weeks. What's the early assessment on them?
For me, I think they're a little better than I put them 7th, mostly because I was like concerned about consistency, kind of what LazerFruit was talking about there. And I think even their drafts is a thing to be inconsistent about, which I hadn't even thought about until this weekend happened, where like their draft on Sunday was just dog water, and they basically lost off draft. I don't think they played well either, but
I need to check that draft.
It like Spica was tweeting afterwards. Everyone was it was they like I think Spica said, "What was that draft with a skull?" And then I think it was a Blaze Olive replied, or someone else replied, like, "What was that draft with the skull?" It was it was the Mundo game. I guess this is what happens when you don't watch the teams that play after you. I guess they played before you, but yeah, it was a weird draft, and they just had like no damage, short range, and the other team had like Mundo Fiora. It was doomed. Like they 5th pick, last pick the Gnar into the Fiora. I don't know if they thought the Volibear was gonna like somehow like get up there or something, but it felt really doomed. It felt really, really doomed.
So you think they'll 6th or 5th mark?
I had them 7th. I think they're a little bit better than I said. I think 6th.
Okay.
I don't know who that knocks them over.
Yeah,
I don't know, because I also had put Fly 5th, and like,
where did you have CLG again?
I don't remember.
Oh, are you saying that, or did
I
you have them at the bottom?
Clear. Are you meme? Oh, is this a joke? I can't tell. On this show, I literally talked to Dhokla about how I put them 10th.
I'm so appalled by your lack of faith in CLG, Mark, that I completely purge it out of my brain.
I mean, it's fine, all good.
Yeah. Okay. So then let's get to 100T. Dhokla, are you able to talk about TSM or 100T, considering you don't watch the LCS?
I mean, scrims have been going well. I'll just say that.
Okay,
well, we haven't streamed TSM yet, but because I think we played them like in the first 2 weeks. So
yeah,
yeah, I think we're gonna scrim them. I hope. I don't know. I don't check the calendar either. I just show up, and yeah, I mean, scrims are going kind of. I mean, this last week scrims were not going too well, but you need bumpy scrims from time to time because you just have to let the ant out once in a while. Can't win too many scrims.
Okay.
Travis, do your 100 Thieves take.
Yes. So 100 Thieves, I'm going to continue to say is going to Worlds. I don't know who else to squeeze in or out. Well, man, Mark left. I was about to. Okay, I'm stall while Mark returns because he needs to be part of this. I continue to think 100 Thieves is going to Worlds because every time I have not believed in 100 Thieves for the last like 2 years, and then fucking Jackson Dahl, who's in the chat right now, he doesn't even work in the space anymore. He's hawking NFTs and crypto. He's always on my case. And Papa Smithy, everybody's always like the 100 Thieves subreddit. The other day I complimented PSG's merch, and some 100T fan quote tweeted me and was like, the utter disrespect for 100T. and like and then I don't believe, and then they do it anyway. Like they win summer and then they make it to spring. Like I would not have predicted them in the finals, and not that I would have predicted EG either, but like I just don't, and they're not making roster changes, and so like it's too weird for me to think that 100 Thieves would go from being finals to out, and then they always look shaky in the regular season, and then they like get their stuff together, and then suddenly they look good in playoffs or whatever. So maybe that's the whole like People talk
I will
about the
say
whole tempo.
Someday has been playing better. I thought he was like really bad for a while, but he has been playing better. So they have some hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And so
Not too much, but some.
nice CLG jersey, Mark. And then here's the other thing. Here's why I also think I want to believe in them, because this past weekend on the LCS broadcast, there was a question of which are the 3 teams that are going to Worlds. Jat did not have 100T going to Worlds. Mark put 100T going to Worlds in 3rd place, and then Raz did not have them going either, which is crazy to me because I'm like, I'm surprised. Like, there's not much evidence to suggest that this team has like gotten that bad where they were like 2nd place. They were 1st last year, 2nd in spring, and now they're just out of Worlds. Now that I've said all this, 100T fans should really hate me because there's no way that now that I've started believing they will go to Worlds. But I'm going to keep them on my Worlds list until they're like definitely in a bad place. But
well, they lost to C9 already.
Yeah, I think I just had a realization, like, as this is all happening, like, I think we're going to be 10th because I just want to be the underdog because I think it's just better that way. So I think CLG is going to be 10th.
Who did I interview? I interviewed...
we're the worst team.
Yeah. Who are you guys playing next?
Oh, good.
Oh, we're playing the top teams in C9 and TL.
Oh, yeah, you guys are doomed.
We're just a 10th game looking for an upset.
Yep. Hey, I hope you rolled the dice well and get some really cheeser picks in there. You guys come up with some stupid strats this week in scrims so you can cheese
really
the win.
Yeah, looking forward to cheesing the win.
Just like you cheesed all of week 1 and week 2 so far to be 4-1.
Yeah, but we're still the underdogs. I like it better being the underdogs.
I mean, that's what Huhi said. So I asked Huhi what he thought of the analyst desk stuff, because after the Speaka stuff last week, I've just decided the real way to create storylines in the LCS is to direct the players as weapons at the analyst desk and the analysts. And Huhi was saying that he was happy about it because they always do best whenever no one believes in them. So there we go. Huhi's coming for you, Raz. You should be afraid. Okay, LazerFruit, thank you for the call. Anything you want to shout out?
I would like to shout out Kobe's Champion Q streams, which I may or may
don't
not
do
be
that.
allowed for.
I honestly think part of the reason our viewership is like much better tonight is that Kobe's not streaming against me. I need to start doing something to maybe the internet will have issues going to his computer or something.
And this one isn't really a shout out, but I would like to make a request of Dhokla. Tell Luger and Poom to play Tarek. It's fucking sleeper.
All right, I'll be sure to only tell them, and no one else will know that Tarek is wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, guys. Bye.
Make sure to say LazerFruit on Hotline League has a hot tip for you guys and see.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dhokla, who was skeptical about coming onto the show because he was unsure of if the callers had good quality, will certainly pass along the callers' suggestions for drafting.
Yeah.
Okay. Mark is grabbing what might be our last caller. Danny Grimm, thank you for the 27 months. Matei, thank you for the 15. And All the Dog, thank you as well. Should have Mark back here in just a second. But it's been super cool to see everybody in the chat. Thanks, everybody, for coming out. It's been fun to see a bunch of industry folks. And I don't know, maybe the LCS is just naturally pulling in a lot of more engagement. Is it Felipe?
Felipe, yes.
So fucking close. Felipe, where are you calling from?
From Costa Rica.
Costa Rica. Great to have you on the show. What do you want to talk about on the show?
I wanted to talk about the combat mechanics and the change that needs to be done after the durability changes. I would just like to add, like at the beginning, that I don't like combat mechanics in general, or not the saturation of them. Like since the middle part of last year, I think they added combat XP in jungle camps. We already had shutdowns. Now we have objective bounties, and I think it's a little bit disgusting.
I think this is perfect because Dhokla somehow not only beat Evil Geniuses on Sunday, he also beat Riot's game devs, making them have to come back against all this objective bounty bullshit when the team already has all the insane buffs on them.
What do you think? Sorry, really quickly, Felipe. What is it? What are the exact reasons you don't like it?
Well, I think that it's like not good that a team can play bad 30 minutes of the game and then have like one team fight and have like a 10k gold swing. Like the first example I remember was that, I don't know if you guys saw it, the Dambo and Genji game 5, where Canyon was playing Nidalee and
Oh
Shoemaker was
yeah,
playing
yeah,
Jade,
yeah.
and Genji had like Saya Yumi, and literally like one fight and it felt like the game was already over. Even with Damo, like I think they had soul. So yep, that was like the first case, and I think this season we have already seen games in LCK, LEC, and LCS that have happened.
All right.
Yeah,
Dhokla,
I will
what
say
do
it
you
is
think?
weird. I think when I was playing Academy, I think there was a similar situation to this where we were. I think the game was even. We might have even been behind, but they still had bounties, and I didn't notice it in game, but I noticed it after, and I'm like, is that supposed to be a thing? Because we were
Well,
definitely
yes,
behind that stage of the game, so it was weird.
like it's like an even bigger problem is that like you can be in a game state and don't recognize if objective bounty should be there or not. Like that's actually a very worrisome trend. Like if if I pause a game and I can't tell if there should be objective bounties or not, like that's not good. There's no clarity of like Riot devs or when should there be objective bounties, how much gold is a Drake, and that stuff.
You're speaking my language. I hate when they hide mechanics, and then you just can't like optimize it. I understand they do it so that you can't game it, but I also feel like if you're designing mechanics that are easily gamed, then like just hiding how they work is a really crappy band-aid fix to it. And an example of this that blew my when I learned it, I was blown away. Was Kayn and how you acquired physical or like melee or range stacks on Kayn when on release. I don't know. I forget. I think it's changed since then. But like people thought it was how much you fought in your forms, but you actually like passively acquired the experience, and then once you hit someone, it triggered that experience, and so you actually didn't need to fight consistently. All you really need to do was show up and hit the one guy once, and then you could go gank the other. And like they just never told you. They just never explained the mechanic of how Kayn chose his form. And like it would radically have changed how people thought they had to play if they made it known. And for some reason they just hit it because it's like, it's a mini game. Are you gonna be Rust or Kayn? And it was like, no one fucking cares. Let me know how to play my champion. And this, I get similar vibes from this, where I'm like, just tell me what the equation is, so I can give you feedback if I think it's good or not. But I don't even know, because to me that game also looked a little ridiculous. The one that you guys just played.
Yeah.
How much did you feel it when you were playing the game, Dhokla?
Honestly, I didn't even notice like they had objective bounties because I mean we were just in the game, just in the moment, I guess. So that wasn't really like in the forefront of my mind. So I didn't notice it at all. But obviously it sucks when like I mean they still have it. It's like 35 minutes in the game and they still have bounties probably. So it's definitely weird for sure.
Do you guys talk about it at all, like in meta conversations when you're talking about like drafts and how you think the team should like? Oh, that's not a good pick right now because like, yeah, you can win early game a little bit, but like you fall off really hard.
No, not at all. Up. No. We're not playing around the objective bounties. I can promise you that.
You're not like, oh man, if I pick Nidalee and then we lose one fight, I'm useless.
When do you find out about this stuff? Like, do you go back and the coaches are just like, by the way?
Honestly, I saw it on like Reddit. It's like everyone's making it such a big deal. I'm like, I don't think it was a big deal. I think the bigger deal is like we threw that game. I think that's like, at least for like our point of view, it's like as a team, like we threw that game. We shouldn't be in that position, but I can see from like a viewer perspective, like they saw bounties where shouldn't have. So yeah.
Yeah.
Like, can I ask Dhokla one question?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, bro.
Like, have you ever been like in a game review and you were, I don't know, like 2 drakes up to 0, and you took third dragon, and then in review you realize that, oh damn, we actually shouldn't have taken that dragon because that, I don't know, that activated bounties and they have, I don't know, Camille or Gangplank or some split pusher, and that gave him like 500 extra gold?
Well, no, I don't think the thought process ends up like that. It's yeah, I just don't think it ends up like that. I think generally it's like when bounties do happen, it's like you generally don't want to trade like map So you just want to fight them where they are instead of like trading side of the map. Because if you're stronger, then just fight them and you'll win instead of try to trading side of the map. So that's generally the meta of fighting bounties, but that's not something like people actively think about. At least I don't think so.
It would be a pretty niche situation, but it is a point that like third dragon gets heavily weighted because it's putting you on soul point, and so like in whatever formula they do, in theory, like if you were ahead and they were trading and like you could take the dragon and they were about to take the turret, I guess you could delay the turret take or delay the dragon take so that they took the turret first, so you didn't risk turning bounties on. I guess there's like some giga brain time you could do that, but otherwise I see what you're like. Most of the time it's not worth the tempo loss to like, we won't take dragon for a minute while they take top turret.
Yeah, generally, you wouldn't want to wait a full minute to like delay dragon take unless you're taking their whole side of the jungle. Like only scenario you would do that is like an exit drag when you're taking like their side of the map. But yeah, that's not really a case. But yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Felipe, for the call. It's always cool when we get international callers. Is there anything you want to shout out before we wind down?
Well, yeah, shout out to the whole LCS content. I think it's stepped up a lot this year. And I would also like to shout out the Seraphine Flex that CLG has been doing, like Seraphine ADC and Seraphine support. I actually think is pretty broken.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Felipe, for the call, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
I do actually the content. I really enjoyed the Emily Rand cat on the rat segment. Mark, how did that come about?
I pitched it because Captain Flowers calls it Tom and Jerry, and I like the Dr. Seuss lane, and so like I wanted to make a Dr. Seuss rhyme about the cat on the rat, and all I really had was the punchline about me wanting to kill Yumi, so like kill the fucking cat on the rat. So that was like the bit, and then one of the producers helped write the outline of the script to get some of like the basic rhyming in there, and then I tweaked that, and then in the morning Emily just like busted out that drawing because she's a beast, and we made the book, and it was like an overnight, like from like 12 hours to make that piece probably.
I love stuff like that, and it's making me very excited to hear that those types of things can happen at the LCS right now, because I think sometimes, it's easy for the stuff to get mired in like meetings and process and all that stuff, and so like I love stories like that because they also remind me of like some of the coolest content I've heard from LEC coming out, where it's like Vedius and Dracos just chilling, and then like a producer tags in and really helps out, and it's just like it's awesome to see content like that materialize versus people just being like, oh, that'd be a cool idea, but like I'm gonna go to sleep, I'll see you guys tomorrow for work.
Yeah, me and the producer were texting at like 10 p.m. probably that night, and he was like, yep, I'm gonna work on a script right now, and I was like, Jesus Christ, dude, all right.
Yeah, no, that's whoever that producer is, pat on the back to them. Okay, cool. Well, we have a couple extra minutes. We started a little bit late, so I don't know, Mark, if you have extra questions for Dhokla.
Dhokla, you have the highest top jungle proximity in the league at 9.7%. Why do you need Contractz to babysit you?
Well, it's just because I'm such a weak laner on the 10th place team, so I need a lot of help to get through the lane. So I really appreciate Contractz being there for me, like just a support, like an emotional support jungler. Like people have emotional dogs, so I just need like emotional jungler support so I can get through the lane.
Gotcha. Okay, good to know. I'm sure he appreciates that. No, maybe I can ask you a little bit about like what is the change as a player on CLG? How have you felt the organization has changed between last year and this year?
Well, I wasn't here last year, but I will say like everyone got fired from last year, right? So it's just a completely new org to me. Like the way I looked at it, like joining CLG, it didn't have the same stigma that it had like previously, where it's just like, oh, this front office doesn't know what they're doing. Like they're just picking up bad talent and stuff like that. I just came into it with like an open perspective of like, it's just a new org with just new people running it. It's not like the same CLG that was there last time. So
yeah. Very good.
All right. Do you want to talk about the Elementz drama real quick? I don't think we need to keep Dhokla around for it if he doesn't care. The double
if you just
Elementz drama.
Give the too long didn't read. I almost don't care enough to like.
So the TLDR is that like on the Trash Talk podcast, Skara Yuri, Voy, I don't remember exactly
Shifter?
everyone who was on it. But at one point, Doublelift was, I don't even really know the context, to be honest, but Doublelift said like something about players who were on their way out during the early days of the LCS or something and used Elementz as an example. And then that prompted Elementz to write like a pretty long twit longer where he talked about his great contributions to the league scene. And now there's a Twitter thread, a Reddit thread about it where people are arguing that Doublelift's an asshole, or Elementz is like pretending he's much better than he was, or like, you know, it's just people throwing shit all over the place. It's great.
Yeah.
Did you ever like, were you watching, like, when did you start paying attention to the pro scene? Like,
I think I saw season 2. Like I saw season 2 like World Championship. I think when TPA won. I think, memory could be wrong. I think I saw them win.
Yeah.
And then after that, I started watching LCS slowly. Because that's generally when I got introduced into League. And then I started watching, I think from season 3 onwards. And then, yeah, I've been a fan since. But I wouldn't say I was a fan of a team. I was just a fan of like the game and the players.
Well, I think it's just funny. I mean, Elementz did do a lot of like content creation stuff that was pretty popular back in like the beta season
like
1 days. Yeah,
huge. Reign of Elementz.
Reign of Gaming, Reign of, yeah, I forget what it was. It was
I think it was Reign of Gaming. I think it was Reign.
Yeah.
Of Gaming. But like how it's so crazy. I just am so fascinated to know what percentage of people would even remember this stuff, you know,
or like looking up the subreddit, like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. Well, actually, it's a very good question as to how many of the people that are commenting have any context on what's been talked about, right? Like, like that's there's more people that commented in this and like upvoted it than there are like people that were actively paying attention back in the day. So I was like, I can't imagine. Like, a lot of people are like, yeah, Doublelift sucks, or wow, this Elementz guy seems like an asshole, and I'm like, I'm sure nobody has any understanding. Yeah, good old days though. All right, well, that is the show. Mark, what do you want to shout out? What do you got coming on? What's going on?
I have to get cat food tonight. I fucked up. Should have got it earlier. This guy's gonna attack me if I don't get him food soon. Have Blame Game coming out on Wednesday on if Core JJ is overrated or not. Dive this week. I don't know. I don't think there's anything too special.
So you're starving your animals, is what I'm hearing.
Making them appreciate my value is what we call it.
Right.
Interesting. Yeah.
I'm the provider.
Dhokla, how about you? What's going on with you? What do you want to shout out?
We're gonna, shout out to just all my teammates, just putting in a lot of work, getting us a successful start, and looking forward to playing next week against C9 and TL. That should be very exciting and should be a good test to see where we stand.
How are you going to do?
If we're actually top 3 or top 10.
Okay. What's your prediction for that?
Since we're the 10th place team, I think it's going to be really hard, and we're probably going to lose both teams.
Okay. Good to know.
Random other question. I've been trying to ask this. What's like Dokla's off time, or do you just not have off time? Like, what do? Do you just lift weights and play League 24/7, or like you? Because I found a Vulcan read fantasy books last week. I didn't know he did that. Like, what do you do?
Well, my schedule is generally just wake up, go gym, get to the office, play League, scrims, and then food, champs queue, / like just talk with Academy boys, just just chill out for like a bit, and then just League, and then go home, listen to some music, meditate, go to bed. That's generally my daily schedule the whole day, every day.
All right, days are off. What do? You gonna go to the
today's
movies?
my off day. Today's my off day. I came in to the office because I don't like to set up at home, so I'd rather just be here and just talk to people, at least just have some interaction, and just generally just watch VODs, just see like other regions, see what's going on. Look at what's like popular, check out some streams, stalk something on Twitter, see what's going on Twitter, and yeah, just take it easy for today. But I do play a lot of ARAMs, I will say. Like, I am on that ARAM grind. Very passionate about my ARAM MMR.
Damn. Okay. You should play with Zale. He was at one point like one of the top 10 or top 50 rated or like hidden MMR ARAMers.
Yeah. I need a. Yeah. I mean, maybe I'll play with him. Maybe he's on like secret account that I just don't know. But I'm on my main, so maybe he knows me, but he's too shy.
He might not be playing as much anymore. There was a time where he was one of the greats of the ARAMs.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, ARAM is kind of like a champ gap. Like if they get Senna, it's like impossible challenge to win. It's like, how can we win? But yeah, it's really fun.
Mark said in chat, Petco PetSmart has the brand I need for food for the cat. I just Googled, and all the Petcos and PetSmarts in the area are already closed.
Indeed.
So what happens now, Mark? Do the cats starve?
No, I get a different one, but Ashley gets mad at me probably.
Oh, okay. Are you able to hide it from her?
No, she knows when. No.
Okay. Well, best of luck, bud. It was nice.
Thanks,
meeting you.
man.
Are we doing something for you and Kobe's birthday on Wednesday? I've been keeping that night clear.
I told you Thursday, didn't I?
No, I don't think so.
Because I could have sworn in person when we went on one of our walks, I told you we can end the show so Doug doesn't have to sit through our
No, we need to
fucking
figure this
couple
out.
bickering.
Right the fuck now.
Entertaining. It's entertaining.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so I could
You
swear
guys
on
have
our
the
walks,
same birthday. What are you doing on
Yeah.
Wednesday night?
Ashley works on Wednesday nights
Oh, so then why don't we do something?
or
just
Wednesday, Thursday. So like,
what if we do something for the guys? You know,
what if we went on Thursday night so I can?
because Kobe's birthday is on Wednesday.
I'm
Well-
pretty sure I talked to Kobe about this already. Anyways, maybe
Really?
it was him
Where?
I talked to about it at the dive or something last week. Because we
Okay.
were talking about how we're gonna be working on Wednesday.
I have been
Our
trying
birthdays.
to figure out something. I messaged Ashley. Did she tell you that I messaged her?
Yeah. I thought maybe I thought she told. I thought I've said this a bunch now. I just assumed one of them was to you, but maybe not.
I said, should we do something for Kobe and Mark's birthday we can discuss on not your birthday, because it was her birthday. And then she
Right.
said they have such different personalities. What would be fun for both of them? Thinking emoji. And I don't even know if that's completely. And I said dinner and or board games, and then we talked about which board games I got.
Make sure Captain Flowers there. He's the life of the party.
Cam Flowers
Listen.
is trying to invite himself through Twitch chat.
There's a couple things here. Captain Flowers, he's gonna take this seriously. I mean, this is a joke. But Captain Flowers, whenever he's at things, I worry about the things around me, because there's a offline TV party where for some reason, I don't know the context, a giant hole appeared in the wall in a bathroom, and it was said that Captain Flowers was the culprit. And then last week we were at this players thing, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, and like suddenly he just walks straight into a screen door, and the beer goes all over it, and so I just like, if we need a safe location to have this event if Captain Flowers is going, where it's insured. There's like
We need to
liability
just bubble
insurance.
wrap him.
All right.
I don't know. I don't really care. Thursday night, let's just get dinner somewhere.
Okay. I'll talk to Kobe and we'll see if we can make it happen. But good to know. All right. That's the show. Thank you, Dhokla, for coming out. Dhokla, final question. How bad were the callers?
I mean, some of them were kind of bad, but overall, it's pretty good, I guess. It's just the average Joe, so I think it's pretty normal.
Great. Pretty normal. That's the review we're looking at. For
Yeah,
this show.
just good enough. Just good enough. Throw a third one in there.
I got a bunch of stuff coming out this week. Stay tuned for that. Thanks, Dhokla, for coming on the show. This has been Hotline League. We'll catch you all next week.